All right, hi everybody. I am going to do the yardstick tutorial that everybody had been asking for. I don't normally do tutorials, so please bear with me. But we're just going to jump right in. First thing I wanted to show you guys is just a basic yardstick. I got this one from Home Depot. Because this is not for a customer, it's for myself. I'm not going to worry about sanding this and taking off this, the lettering or the markings or staining it or anything like that, but you can do that. However, I am going to show you that I went ahead and pre-drilled it's about a 1/2 inch in on each side, a hole, because I'm going to be hanging these vertically above my windows. And so I wanted a way to be able to place a hook. So these are just drilled with a drill. Very easy. So the first thing is get your pipe cleaners, of course. And I just kind of fold them in half a little bit just to kind of, so I can make sure they're kind of even. It's not a really big deal if they're not, but I start at the one. And I twist it to the side, just like so. I come right next to that one with my second pipe cleaner. And just give them a good twist. I am going to, after I get all my pipe cleaners on, I am going to put a dab of hot glue on there just so I can make sure that nothing slides around. I'm going to be placing these, so I did the first one at the 1. I'm going to do, after that, it's going to be at every 5. Because these are 36 inches, it gives you, I'm off an inch on the start. But again, once your mesh is on, no one will notice. It's not a big deal. Again, if anybody has questions or comments, please feel free to message me. I will answer them the best I can. Or you can leave them in the comments and I will get back to you. Like I said, I don't normally do tutorials. I normally don't even do lives on my page. I do have a Facebook group that's where I do lives, and I don't usually make anything. It's just me talking about sales or, items that I've made or things like that. But I, would be happy to help anybody if they have questions or anything like that. I will say that when I with my first swag that I did, I originally had put just one pipe cleaner kind of down the center, all the way down. And once I had got my mesh on, I learned that it was not going to be full enough. And you could see the yardstick. And I did not like the way that looked. I wanted it something big. I like bigger statement pieces for my home. At Christmas time, I kind of go all out. The more decorations, the better. But I wanted something kind of big above my windows. So you can see it. And I just like big. It's just fun. So that is how I'm doing mine. Of course, you can do yours however you choose. I am going to be using a different mesh than my first video, or my first swag, excuse me, only because I started to do this and realized I didn't have enough mesh with that one. It was only going to go one, it was only going to be one-sided, and I didn't want two different kinds of mesh on each side. So my work area in my room is where my craft room is not as big as I would like it to be. So I may have to kind of swing this out a little bit to be able to get everything in. This last one falls at the 35, which is about a ½ inch from the hole that I drilled. Doesn't matter if these are even, but you don't want them terribly lopsided. Alright, so I have all of those on. I'm just going to go ahead and put a quick dab of hot glue just kind of over it and on each side, so that way nothing moves. I don't have to worry about anything coming apart or sliding. You don't need a whole lot, just enough I don't want them to move around on me. So the mesh I'm using for this one, I bought this off one of the like buy sell groups in my town. I know by the label though, it is a Hobby Lobby mesh, which I'm not always a huge fan of, but that's okay. I'm gonna make it work. And I honestly don't think this is even a current mesh that they have. I don't know though. I don't often buy mesh at Hobby Lobby. So this is a very thin, which we're gonna have to see. I might have to change that, because if I can see through it, that's not gonna work. All right, so I'm doubling it over. Let me get these extra pipe cleaners out of here. I might have to change plans though, because I didn't realize how see-through this mesh was. Let's see. I'm gonna curl. I've got my ends tucked under, and I'm gonna just curl those in, and then just kind of bunch it. And we might have to switch mesh here really quickly, because I just don't know how this is going to look being so thin. It matches my colors, but let me see how my poofs are going to look. I'm going to do 10-inch poofs down each side. It might work with both sides having mesh down it. I'm not feeling this mesh though. I like a heavier foil for something like this. but because I am doubling them up on each side, it might work. I might have to throw a ruffle on, some ruffles or a curl, which is okay too. So my decor for Christmas is very Grinchy looking, but I don't actually do the Grinch. But it's the green, the red, the white, the lime. But I don't really have any Grinch on my tree. I don't do anything like that. If you are using, if you are planning on doing this, I would recommend a heavy foil mesh so it's not see-through. I'm going to have to add ruffles to this, and that's okay. The reason my first swag didn't have any ruffles or twinkles or anything like that is because I really loved that mesh, and I really wanted to be able to see that. I also should warn everybody that my grandbaby is here today, and she may or may not come knocking on the door here shortly. So I apologize in advance if that happens. Again, my work area, hopefully you guys can still see, is small on this desk for such a large piece. And once I get my last I'm just going to do one twist on there, because I'm going to see if I can maneuver this so you can see. I am going to take this out. Let's see how we want to do this. So I guess it's going to be a little bit smaller. I guess we'll do it about 10 inches. So it's going to be a 10-inch cut at the end. It doesn't have to be straight because nobody's going to see it. I'm going to tuck that under. Just kind of hold those and then tuck my sides in a little bit to make that kind of poof for the end. Then I'm going to open that back up. So that's where my poof ends, and I'm just going to tuck this in to make that poof at the end. All right, so we have one side done. As you can see, it is pretty thin, but we're just gonna go with it. See if we can't get it to work. Otherwise, we're adding ruffles or something, which is okay. Okay, so I am tucking, again, my mesh underneath. We don't want those cut sides out. I'm just going to fold the edge in on both sides. See if I can do this one-handed. And then just kind of crinkle in my hands. I don't want a huge poof at the end, but I do want some to cover the edge of the yardstick. And we have flipped our yardstick, and so now the sides that we haven't put any mesh in are facing towards us. And we are just going to start adding. So you want to try to get it kind of on top so it covers. Give it a couple good twists there. I feel like if you have made wreaths before, after a while you can kind of just eyeball the, I do 10-inch poofs, so you can kind of just eyeball that, I feel like. But again, if it's not exactly 10 inches or if it's a little over, it's not a huge deal. Because we're going to have things over all this. Now, really quickly, so I don't want it to be like two separate pieces. So when you can do this before, or you can do this as you're going, but I kind of want to tuck them together and spread my poofs out so they kind of just connect and they're one. And you want to do that with both. So I'll just kind of pull this second one open and kind of just tuck that first one in there, just so they don't come apart and you have a weird seam down the center. So then it all kind of just looks like one big poof. And you do these poofs just like you would for your wreath. So spreading it out and just tucking a little bit. Now this mesh isn't exactly my colors, just because I like the lime green. I kind of think it gives it a little bit of a pop. But we are going to be using our ribbons, so we can tie that in. With the ribbons and any embellishments that we use. This is that terrible mesh that sticks. As you can see, again, just tucking that in to kind of make sure that they are kind of together, so we don't get that seam down the center where they open up and I see the yardstick. Alright, so we're going to make our poof at the end again, and I'm going to tie that in just loosely because I'm going to undo it here in a second. And actually, I think I want to do that just a little bit bigger. I don't think that one was quite big enough. All right, so it is tucked in there. So right about there. And as you guys can see, I'm not measuring. It doesn't have to be perfect because nobody's going to notice that. Once you get your ribbons and all that on. So then we just take that and I want to tuck it, maybe, if it will let me. And once I get it tucked, get that cut edge, I want to roll that in just a little bit. That way I don't have any frayed edges coming out. Especially on this type of mesh that is not like the heavy foil. I feel like it frays far more considerably than the foil mesh. Actually, I'm going to tuck that, pull that down just a little bit more. It was kind of big. There we go. And tuck those ends in. And just tuck it right down there. Give it a couple good twists. Make sure it's on there good and tight. Fluff the two mesh together. All right, so this is what we have so far. That's really the hard part, except for on this mesh, again, you can see my yardstick. So what I'm going to do, I think, is I have this, and I don't know if it's going to be too busy, so we're going to attempt a ruffle and see if that will fix that. This is cut to 20 inches. I'm just ruffling it. Because this mesh is a foil, but it is so far apart, I don't know if this mesh will actually work for this. But we're going to tuck it in. We're going to see how that looks. We'll see. It might be too busy because of the two different patterns. And it might not be enough to fill in and cover what we're wanting. Let me see here. Now this would be a good time to go live because then I could ask everybody what their opinion is. I think we're just going to go for it though. I think that's what we're going to do. So we're going to get a cut. All right, so I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. I need 15 more pieces. So I'm going to cut these at 20 inches. Isn't that's kind of like my magical go-to number for my ruffles. Has anybody else done any tutorials? just curious. If you have, let me know in the comments. And what do you do when your plan, what you had planned, doesn't work? So that is 7. And in case anybody is curious, this mesh right here, I do believe I got at Craft Outlet. So alright, so I'm just gonna ruffle and it's gonna stick, of course. I use the back of my desk to hold my ruffles, but this one is the end piece, so it's extra curly. And I just tuck those, let's pull that forward just a little bit, tuck those ends in a little, and then just pull with your fingers and try to keep it even. I like to make sure that this end, the ending end, is curled under so it doesn't stick out, which I think is how everybody does their ruffles. I also put mine face down, and I don't know if that's how everybody does theirs or not. That's how I do mine. So then when you have it on your wreath or your whatever it is you're making, and I just kind of pull them together, fluff them up. And that's actually going to hide the yardstick pretty well, I think. And again, I don't do tutorials, so there's probably some sort of like fancy editing where you do all of this, but again, I don't do tutorials. So, however, what I am going to do, you guys, is I'm going to pause this and get these all on, and I will be right back. All right, we are back. I am finished adding all the ruffles in. So here is what it looks like from the end. It's so much and it's so big. It's hard to see all of it at once. I'm sorry, guys. But both sides are finished. And it actually looks better than I thought it would. I may end up even liking this more than the original one that I did. So we are going to put that aside right now because I am going to start with my bow. My bow placement will tell me where everything else will end up going. So I use an easy bow maker, like a lot of people. And I have all my ribbons picked out that I'll be using. I just had to shove to the side. So we're gonna just kind of go in, and this bow is going to be the center of my swag. And because my mesh is dark, I want to bring out that white, so I'm going to do that as my base layer, and I might even put an extra loop in. I think. I'm thinking I'm going to do this and this for my ribbons throughout. So I don't know. We're just going to go with it, guys. We're just going to wing it. I actually want that closer to the top, I think. So we're just going to start with this. And as you can see, I have no tutorial experience, so we are just winging it. I am going to do 8-inch tails. This ribbon is very thick, so it doesn't twist as well. But it's a good sturdy ribbon, and I like that. All right. I am going to do 6-inch loops. I am not as good with the bows as Damon, so if you are from Deco Exchange, I apologize. Alright, so 8 inches, I'm going to cut that. Now, I am going to do just an X. So I want my tails and my loops to sit in an X pattern. I love whimsical bows, so anything that I make for my house at least has a whimsical bow. Most of my wreaths do too. I just really like the way it looks. I think they're fun, so that's what we're going with. Alright, because that's dark, we're gonna pull this white. This ribbon came from Craft Outlet, the diamond. This one is from Hobby Lobby, this white. Because everybody needs a white glitter, especially at Christmas. Now, when I'm making my bow, like when I'm actually doing the ribbons and the loops, I will usually just go adjust it after I'm finished and I've cut it. Alright, so next we are going to go in with, I think we're going to do this darker green. And on my bows, I just alternate, so if it's a loop, then it's a tail next. I want these to be the same size. I want them all, my loops at 6 inches. noticed that once you get like this third set of ribbon, it gets thick. So I just try to measure, and my tail's down there. Alright, so now we are going to adjust this a little bit here. We're still going for that X pattern. Right, okay. Now I feel like we might need some stripes. This pattern, these patterns on this ribbon, I feel work because it's got that whimsical look to it. So it kind of works on this bow especially. And everyone always tells me it looks like Dr. Seuss. It does. That's not actually what I'm going for, but it does. So these ones are six. I'm going to do this one. I think I'm just going to take it right down to the 5. I want it a little bit smaller. We are going to lighten it up now. We are going to go with a white polka dot, and then we're going to move on to our 1.5 inch. This is all 2.5 inch. I don't know if I said that, by the way. This is a ribbon I got at Hobby Lobby, I believe. Yeah, Hobby Lobby. We're going to do this one at 5 as well. We're just going to kind of measure it with the, get better for you guys, sorry. First loop that we did, that first 5 inch with the stripes. I do dovetail my ribbons, but I don't do that until I have it attached to my swag or my wreath, whatever it is I'm making. Because sometimes I want longer tails and sometimes I want shorter, and I sometimes don't know what I want until I get it on there. So, alright, so now we're going to go in with our one and a half inch, and so this is what I'm thinking. Thinking these two. I'm going to start with this one, because I'm going to do a finishing ribbon on the top. Now the loops that I just did were 5. Oh, that seems very long. So we are going to take this one down smaller than the last 2 that we just did. And this looks like it's about, gosh, an inch. So I guess 4 inches for this ribbon. And I feel like at this point, when you get it so thick, you're just kind of eyeballing it. I don't know if there's a better way to do that, but that's just how I do it. And the great thing about crafting is you can kind of do it however. And those look about even on each side here. Okay. Then I'm going to go in with this polka dot. This is a big bow. I like big bows though. I always cut, when I open up my ribbon, I always cut that end off where it's been folded so you don't have those weird crease marks. And we're going to do this one in the same size as the last loop we did. So it should be about 4. Alright, so this loop is going to come down. And last, I love this. I don't know if you can see. It's very open. I don't know what check. I don't know what that's called, but we're going to put that start up on top this time. So pull that to the top. Now I do this one smaller than so that way I get it to sit in the center, hopefully. That's my ultimate goal, is to get it in the center. And so it's a little bit smaller than the other two that we just did. And gosh, I'd probably say an inch and a half smaller. And I kind of eyeball it because at this point my bow is so thick you can't measure it. I want my shiny glittery side down. I don't do center loops, and I'm going to show you why I don't do center loops. I don't use pipe cleaners for my bows because I have terrible carpal tunnel, and I've had surgery. So I use pipe cleaners, and I use 11-inch pipe cleaners. Now normally, if I was going to add this to a wreath, I would use 2 pipe cleaners, or 2 zip ties. But because I'm adding it to this swag, I am going to only use 1. So get it underneath all your bows, or loops, under all your tails. Come up the center. Hold your finger in place, and I just loop it right in. I don't make it tight. So as you can see, it's not in the center. So I just kind of slide it over there. I make sure it doesn't move anything when I'm sliding it. I hold my fingers on top of it, and I just, that was too tight. And I just slide it and flip it. And then I tighten it lightly, right? So now, if I was going to be placing this on a wreath, I would slide this in like that. This also helps when I'm holding this. I can hold all 3 of these pieces and it makes it sturdy so I can rearrange my bow if I need to. But because I'm putting it on this swag, I actually need pipe cleaner. Because I want it to sit, my bow to sit a certain direction. And it's much easier to maneuver it with pipe cleaner on this than a zip tie. Anyway, so I'm just going to put these 2 together because I want a longer piece. I want to make sure I put my bow on, but I'm not smushing the mesh on the swag. So I make sure that's good and tight, not going to go anywhere. And then I feed that through. And I want the pieces that I married together right there in the center, right? So then we're gonna tighten this, pull it good and tight. Now you can see my pipe cleaner or my zip tie here. When I'm done with my bow, you won't be able to. And this is where it gets hard for me because I'm so used to doing it with the zip tie in here. So then I just kind of fluff my loops and make sure everything is where I want them to be. I'm not an expert at bows, so this is probably why I do it this way. I'm sure if Damon were ever to see me do this, he'd probably have a heart attack. But, you know, it is what it is. I think I've done my bows that way since I started, and so it's hard for me now to use pipe cleaner. I can't use pipe cleaner when I've tried on my wreaths. I feel like I can't get it tight enough. Anyways, you're not gonna, as you can see, you're not gonna see that plastic piece, especially once I get this bow on my swag. So, all right, easy. So we are going to take, if I can grab it, oh, let me get all of this ribbon out of the way real quick. I like to pull out all the ribbon that I might use, because sometimes I will get going on a project and then just be like, oh, where's this ribbon? I'm looking for it and I can't find it, because I'll change my mind midway through. All right, so we're gonna pull our swag over and also make sure that you trim, if you do use a zip tie, trim your zip tie before you add it to your Now, I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. I'm not measuring it perfectly. And then with my pipe cleaner on each side, I'm literally going to take it. Let's see if I can do it on this side first. All right, so to me that looks like the center, and I know it's hard from this video, but I try to center my bow. So I find my pipe cleaner, and I'm just going to take it underneath. And I'm going to do the same with the other side. And try to find a spot where I can slide my pipe cleaner in between my mesh so nobody sees that. And then once I have it in there, can't see it, I'm going to fluff my mesh and fix my bow and make sure it's centered where I want it before I tie it on. And then of course we'll trim our tails, dovetail everything because that's necessary. Alright, and so from what I can see, it looks like this front part needs to come, I guess it's bottom, it needs to come down just a little bit. Okay, now you don't want to smush your bow into your mesh. But you do want to make sure it's good and tight. And I am just giving that some good twists. But here is what I'm going to show you guys. Because if I decide I wanted to change this, or if I wanted to put a different bow, or, you know, if I wanted to make it hanging horizontally, I want to be able to remove my bow. So I am not going to cut these pipe cleaners. I'm literally just going to tuck them right up into the mesh. Nobody's going to see it, but it gives you the opportunity to change things down the road if you want. So we're just going to tuck those in. Nobody's going to see them. My bow's on good and tight. Okay. I wonder if I can move this really quickly and lift it up anymore. No, I can't. Alright guys, it's kind of close, so I apologize. I'm going to pause this video really quickly and see if I can adjust that for you because it's really hard to see. It's really close. So I'll be right back, guys. Alright, I am back, you guys. Hopefully that's a little bit better. It's a little bit higher. So what we're going to do now is just go ahead and trim our tails and dovetail everything. And I want to keep some of these longer. I don't want to go too short. Some of these are thinner ribbons, so you gotta kind of fold them. Make sure we don't miss any that are hiding underneath here. just turn this around. Trim that one just a little bit more. Goodness, my cutting is not on tonight. There we go. Holy cow. There we go. All right, so what we're going to do now is go ahead and add in, start with our ribbon. And I think I want to do these two again, like I did in the first swag. And that will kind of tie the two in as well together. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and line these up just like so, and I'm going to dovetail them. Okay, so I've got the ends dovetailed. All right, and we are going to start with just one end of our swag, and I want to do these tails a little bit longer so they kind of hang off. So these are going to be like 6 inches. I'm not cutting them. All right, I am just going to tuck these right in there, and I'm going to give it a good twist. And I'm just going to kind of pull those out. Okay. Then I'm going to keep my ribbon together. And I'm going to go, it looks like I've got 3 on this side, 3 on this side on our ties. So I'm going to skip this second one. You see how that would look there? I'm going to do it across. And as you can see, I don't have it tight. So that way, if I do pinch my ribbon in here, I still have room to separate them. Okay. So kind of figure out where I want them to be and how long. I feel like that's kind of a good length. I can stick my hand in. It's not smushing anything down. Okay, and then I'm going to pinch. I'm going to open up that twist tie there. And pull it as tight as I can. I am going to open these up. Just like that. Super easy. Then for my tails, I'm just going to kind of eyeball it because I didn't measure. going to dovetail those as well. That helps if you do it the correct way. All right, so there we go. That is that for our ribbon. You guys, you can put tails in these. You can even take different ribbon and crisscross it if you wanted. You know, you guys can do whatever you want. This is just how I am doing mine. I'm doing it because ribbon's expensive. And while I love ribbon I don't want to waste ribbon on myself. I use all my ribbon for my customers, and that probably sounds silly, but all right, so again, we're just going to start off with a dovetail on these. That's a surefire way to make sure you have enough room. Just toss it on the ground. All right, so we did it on this middle piece, which is, let me see. So I did it on this middle piece, which is going to be the top. I want these at the top of my swag. So I'm going to start here this time and go down. Because I don't mind if they don't look identical, but I do want them very similar. So I do want that unity. So these ones are going to be 6 inches. I'm just going to measure these ones out. All right, bunch those up. Open up my twist tie there. Get that good and tight. And I'm not, normally I would trim these off right now, but I am not, I'm not sure if, these are too long, I'm not sure if I want to add anything to these, so I'm not going to take off my zip tie, or trim off my pipe tails yet, or my pipe cleaners yet, just in case I want to add something else. Then I have the option. Okay, so we're going to keep our ribbon together. So everybody can see. And my end pipe cleaners right here. So if I did that there, I still got a good amount to work with. So I'm just going to pinch right here. Get that good and tight. And dovetail these. Just like so. In my last swag, I put mesh tubing in here, but I don't know if I want to do that this time. So, as you can see, we just kind of spread that ribbon apart there. I still think these ones are too long. Maybe I did these ones too short. That's okay. Alright, now you guys, because I had to switch mesh and all of that, I am not sure what I want to do for my embellishments. I think that I am gonna get some just plain Christmas bulbs and put bunches of them in here. And I'm going to do them in clusters of 3. And I'm just going to give you kind of an idea of how that will look really quickly. Let's see if I have any. I have no red. I think I would use bigger bulbs than these, but we will try it and see how it looks. These are just some bulbs that I had from last Christmas from the Dollar Tree. These are just the smaller. So I don't think I would want to use this small. I think I'd want to go up a bigger size, but we're going to see right now. I will say though, you do want to do your clusters in 3s. Hopefully, I don't have my wire available. Actually, we'll do green first. So I'm going to show you how I do these really quickly. Normally I would put these on wire, but I'm not sure where my wire is because I didn't plan on doing this. So I had something else planned and I don't want to do it because of this mesh. So then you just take your 3 bulbs and I'm having issues here, you twist them in. And because I used Dollar Tree, they're coming off. But anyways, so then you just twist them. So then you've got a cluster of 3, right? And I'm gonna trim this down. I keep these longer because just in case I need them, you can always trim them up later if it's too long. But I'm just going to attach these with the pipe cleaners I already have. I'm not attaching them permanently because I am again not sure if, hold on one second. I'm not sure, I need a dab of glue on here. This is why I don't use Dollar Tree. I started crafting last year. I had no idea what I was doing. I still kind of don't, but you know, you wing it. I've just added some glue. But anyway, so last year I started crafting, and so I got a lot of things from Dollar Tree, not knowing better. I know better now, I don't do that. But I still had these left over, and the bulbs are perfectly acceptable to use. And not tossing out craft supplies. Well, this works better on with my wire. So I apologize, you guys. But this is just going to give you kind of an idea. Alright, so Get my ruffle going. All right, so this will just give you an idea of something you can do you can do these. I would do bigger ornaments just because they would stand out more. And I would like to do, I'm going to pull these out because even these smaller ones, we did not hold that. These smaller ones might be okay to put at the end here. All right, so even I could do something. Let's see here. We're gonna move it right here. So I could even put those right like in here. That would be a good size. This is a good size bulb for something like that. Something where I'm filling space. I'm gonna want to use a bigger bulb, and I don't think I have any in this area. I have large ones, but I wouldn't use these in clusters of 3. Let's open these and see. I think the white will look good. These are extras that these match my tree, and I'm going to be making a garland. So, but something like this, you could even just toss in like that. You can see. Just something like that. And even, you don't have to cover that up. You could just glue that right in there. That would be fun. Even with those, you can add in the mesh tubing, which I do have some right here. So for these, I like to just take them, hold the center, make some loops. I like bigger loops, and I don't want my loops to be the exact same size of on the colors. So like here, I will take, I have this wrapped up in ribbon or something, twisted. But then I will take my red and my white. Oh my gosh, what do I have this stuck on? I have it stuck on mesh. That's what it's stuck on. Okay. And so these ones will be a little bit bigger. So something like that. You could tie it in. Let's see if I can get this over here. You could tie this loop in right here. That's the great thing about these, you guys. You can literally add in anything. Then these, I would just cut, because I don't like to see those cut ends. So I cut them down deep. There we go. So you can just do something like that. You can add in picks. You can add in ornaments, anything, you guys. I am not going to finish this tonight because I do want to get some more of these bulbs. I think the white looks good, and I am going to do some clusters of these glitter ones, I think. We'll see. I'm just going to play around with it. But this is the basic idea of how to do a swag. And if you don't even want embellishments, you can stop right here. It's pretty with just the ribbon. I just have these laying in here. It's pretty with just the ribbon and the bow. So you can make it as big or as little as you want, you guys. But I hope this helps. I know everybody was asking about how I did it. And so that is the basics of it. Again, you can add embellishments wherever, however, and that's what I'm going to do. But I want to add some white Christmas balls in there just to kind of make it pop so it's not so dark. But yeah, so let me guys know what you think in the comments. Hopefully this helps somebody. And other than that, you guys have a great night. Bye.